bum, bum, bum.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. 24. Back again. Teach, coach, the Podfather. We just got done with Jordan and James. 23. So now we're on 24. The Kobe Bean Bryant episode.
It is the Kobe Bean Bryant episode. We're going to be mentioning more names. Welcome to 3 for 3 podcast. I am your humble moderator who tries to convince these guys that they're both wrong and I'm right, and it never works out anyway because they know more than me. So welcome to 3 for 3 podcast. I am Paul Teachenels. I am joined by Coach Frank LaFada and the Podfather himself, Alex Gullett. Welcome to the only scorekeeping pod that tells you how these awards mean nothing. The media just makes this all up for storylines and bait. And then we argue about it for about an hour. So that's what we do. Today we have the NBA award season. Yeah, we are giving our awards out to the NBA. It was a great season. It was a fun season. 3 for 3. We are here for the awards. So let's go ahead and, before we start talking awards, let's talk playoffs.
1 second really quick. I'd like to go back and just revisit last week, because I won the Michael Jordan Award, which is the MVP award for the 3 for 3 podcast. Just FYI, maybe in 30, 40 years, LeBron gets an award. I bet it'll be for the guy that gets traded the most or goes to the most teams. Won't be for the guy that stayed with the team, won some championships, you know what I mean? Anyways, that should be a loyalty award. We're going to give that to Michael Jordan.
30-second rebuttal, Coach.
Loyalty award for quitting on his team twice. I don't know what loyalty that is. Loyalty award for getting maybe supposedly kicked out of the league. I don't know what award that is. Maybe they should give the award for most points scored in the playoffs, most wins in the playoffs, most playoff series wins, maybe, highest winning percentage in the playoffs for Michael Jordan to LeBron James. Maybe that should be it too. Or you know what? The Jordan award should be the most first round exits by a supposed GOAT.
We get it. We get it. All right. So if you guys want more of this stuff, tune in. Again, last week we had a 5-part series, Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. We had the debate. Right now, it's leaning toward Michael, according to the comments on TikTok. Okay, still waiting for it out there. It is leaning. I just really quickly, let's go ahead and talk about a couple things. First off, the Lakers survive Minnesota. Okay, not an elimination game, but an advancement game. So they are going to go on. Look at the man wearing the medal. Attaboy. The Lakers beat Minnesota. Minnesota had 3 of their 7 rotational players out. How scared were you guys as a LeBron and Lakers fan? Just real quick.
You want to go first?
0%. I wasn't scared at all. I mean, honestly, the game was going back and forth, but I felt like the Minnesota was keeping them hanging around the whole time. They weren't blowing them away and they weren't leaving them away. And because Minnesota, the first half, they were making a lot of shots, and I was like, they can't stay that hot. So I literally stayed up watching the game because I was waiting for the comeback.
Yeah, no, as a real Lakers fan, there was some worry there, right? Because I think we've seen all year where Minnesota played better without Rudy Gobert. That's a thing. I think had they had McDaniels, it may have been a different story. But luckily, and I say luckily, the guys, Schroeder came out real big for us in the second half. AD finally caught fire in the fourth quarter. LeBron made a few plays. He looked gassed, but I mean, what do you expect at that age? He was still able to perform at 40-minute level, at that level. So looks good. We got the rest we deserve. We need that rest going into the first round. And so really excited about the Memphis Grizzlies matchup. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, there was some worry. Absolutely.
The other game was Hawks Heat. Again, as a Boston fan, I loved that result. Miami just didn't show up. Quinn Snyder coached his butt off. He went ahead and he schemed up different ways for Trey to run off ball. So am I worried? No. Is it going to be a gentleman's sweep? Probably. We'll get to that. The other Eastern game, Bulls defeated the Raptors. Fellas, thoughts on that?
None. It was a nothing matters game. I don't care who wins. I don't think they're going to win the next series. It didn't mean nothing to me.
Yeah, I think. Well, you get the Bucks or you get the Celtics, right? And so,
it's Bucks or Cancun. That's what it is. Hawks got the Celtics. Bucks are hey, we're going home.
Yeah.
So Cancun and Cancun.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so I mean they get the Bucks.
Quick update.
Thanks for participating. Do they give a participation trophy in the NBA?
No,
They should,
they-
because that's what they're
they
going to
don't.
get.
Well, the Heat are up right now by 6. So
Yeah.
while we were recording, they're up by 6, 42-36. And the last one, the Thunder eliminate New Orleans. Zion, stay home. Don't worry about coming out. Any strong thoughts there?
SGA is different.
I'm really starting to get worried about Zion. Really. I put it in the thread earlier. He's another injury away from. It's different than the Embiid situation where we were trusting the process. We knew what we were going to get. I think it's different. I see something. It's a little alarming. I'm really rooting for the kid, even though he was a Blue Devil. I'm rooting for him, but it is alarming. It really is alarming. And SGA is different. He doesn't play any defense, so he's kind of what everybody in the NBA is, nowadays. But SGA,
Yeah,
good for him. Big step this year.
SGA, 10 points in the third quarter. That's the 40th time he's done that this season.
Crazy.
That's just trying to sprinkle a little knowledge. It's what I do as a teacher, okay? So the first round matchup. Let's do quick picks. Again, we're going to get into the first round matchup and then your finals pick right now if you were picking. So in the East, we got the 1 seed, Milwaukee. Looks like they could be playing the Heat, could be playing the Bulls. What do we have? I have Milwaukee.
Bucks.
Okay. 2, Boston versus Atlanta.
Celtics.
It better be Boston. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed. We're going to do a short about something with Boston later, so tune into TikTok for that. Number 3, Philly versus the number 6, the scrappy Podfather's very own Brooklyn. Brooklyn in the house. You said they were going to be scrappy for the last 2 months, man.
I said it when the trade deadline came. Listen, don't be surprised. Brooklyn has more talent than a lot of people give them credit for. Give me Philadelphia.
All right, good. Let's see. And the last one, Cleveland Knicks. I have Philly as well. Coach, do you have
Philly.
Okay.
Philly, yeah.
All right, so Cleveland and Knicks. I have Cleveland.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm taking Cleveland.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going New York. This team is different. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle. Give me New York on this one.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. Should make some interesting matchups. Denver and I guess the winner of OKC. And I mean, I it's going to be OKC, right? Or is it going to be Minnesota? What do you think?
I don't know.
Does it matter?
Gobert could be a difference maker.
I like Minnesota in that game later on tonight, right? I like Minnesota. Give me Denver in the first round.
Okay. We're all 3 there.
Yeah.
3 for 3. Denver. Memphis and LA.
LA.
Give me the Lakers.
Don't do it.
Lakers.
We said Boston.
Lakers
we
in 6.
said Boston.
Lakers in 6. It's if they lose, then it's something's really wrong there.
I like the Lakers in 5. But
Yeah, I like the
is
Lakers
good
in
too.
5 also.
Little gentleman's sweep. Give them
Yeah.
one, right? Put one in the chamber, Ja.
That's right.
think Ja's going to pull one out. That's why I say 5.
I think Bane can catch fire. They can take one, but they won't beat us more than once.
An interesting matchup between a former coach, current coach again, right? So we have Sacramento at the 3 and Golden State. What do we think, fellas?
Give me Golden State.
Golden State.
Yeah, I think go Warriors go. I think Wiggins is a big difference.
You know what's interesting here? Love this matchup really quick. I want to touch base on it. So Sacramento, best offense in the NBA this year, by far. Wasn't even close, right? Also, Golden State, when Draymond plays, Clay plays, Steph plays, they're the number 1 defense in the league, defensive rating. And so I think it's a really cool matchup. We've seen it before with Golden State. Clay and Steph look different right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Clay, I mean, we've been saying it all year, like, oh, he's finally back, but he does look like he's finally back. And probably the most interesting matchup, Phoenix and Clippers.
Give me Phoenix.
It's hard to bet against KD.
Maybe in 5.
Yeah, I think it's Phoenix. I think this is a brutal series, though. I do think this goes 7.
I'm going to be different. I'm going to take the Clippers.
I think if Paul George doesn't come back fully healthy, we know he's going to miss 1 or 2 games.
Well, he's going to miss the whole series. He said he should be ready for the semis if his shoulder is feeling up to it. That was the latest news.
Give me the Suns.
I'm worried about the Suns' depth, and that's the one thing the Clippers have a ton of.
KD got a haircut, bro. He's different.
He doesn't have many hairs left to cut.
Different.
So you better watch out.
Different.
And that's coming from us jokers, all right?
You know what I'm saying?
All right, so let's see.
Frank gets a discount at the barbershop.
35% off.
That's because he's so handsome.
That's
why.
that's what
That's
it
because
is,
he's so handsome.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you had to pick right now, who's in the finals? Who's winning? Coach?
I'm never not going to pick against LeBron. So until LeBron loses, it's LeBron's team. It's LeBron's everything until he loses. So I'm rooting for LeBron, but I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Podfather?
I think Bucks and Suns, and give me the Bucks in 6.
Okay. I got Boston, Phoenix, and I have Boston in 7.
You got to ride with them, bro. Ride with them.
There's one important reason. I think if they don't win it this year, there's going to be not a blow up, but there's going to be a small rebuild. They're not going to, with the new CBA, they're not going to be able to do what we think they're going to do.
I'm excited. I'm excited for them to play Williams this playoffs. He's finally healthy. They held him back. See what happens. They're a different team.
Finally healthy. Finally healthy. He is never finally healthy. He will never be finally healthy. That cat is always going to be, hey, 12, 18 minutes. He is not going to ever be he's not.
You guys cannot win a championship with Grant Williams and Al Horford playing the bigs.
No.
You cannot.
No, especially not if Grant Williams is going to sit there throwing up 9 3-pointers. Yes, I get that can win you a game. That's going to lose you most games.
Well, he's living off of one series from last year, right? He caught fire last year, one series.
He won a game against the Bucks.
Yep, he did.
Single-handedly.
Yep.
So it's now let's go ahead and talk about Grant Williams has improved, but I don't think he's in the running for our first award. Really quick, most improved player. This is the George Mikan Award. Podfather, who do you have?
I'm gonna go with your guy, Lauri Markkanen. Give me the guy out of Utah. Just really quick, 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. That's up from 15 and 5. What a tremendous and even his shots went up. So his stat line this year, his shooting line this year was 50, 39, and 88, up from 44, 36, and 87. Gotta love that. The kid did his thing. He's the most improved.
All right, Coach, you agree with him? Is it Lauri?
Yeah, it's Lauri. It's an easy MIP award. This is probably the one. This is one of the 2 or 3 that are. I mean, it's in the bag. Lauri deserves it. He had a great year. He went from being a role player to a star player, and good for him.
I'd love to say we are 3 for 3, but we're not. I'm going with SGA.
No.
I'm going with SGA.
Come on.
Here's why I'm going with SGA. First of all, eye test. Second of all, Lauri has a very similar stat line as he did 3 years ago, before Lauri was moved. Very similar stat line. Let's see. SGA beats Lauri in box plus minus, which is a Podfather category, which is a Podfather favorite stat. Win shares, they have the same offensive rating, the exact same offensive rating, and SGA has a better defensive rating. So I'm going to go SGA.
It's not about who's got a better rating. It's who's most improved. He went from 14 to 25. I mean, SGA only went up 5 points per game.
So if you're going to count all the last 2 years where his stats went down, but if you look at 3 years ago, his stats were almost the same as they are right now.
This is always most improved from last year.
That's great, but I'm not going to give Guy an award because he was really good, then sucked 2 years, and then became really good again. No, I'm not going to do it. Give it to SGA. All right, SGA good. Off the Thunder, what are they winning?
The same thing they won this year. Not get into the playoffs. Yeah.
They're not winning. They're not winning 15 games without SGA.
And I'm going to throw this at you really quick, and you guys can hot take it all you want. There are times when Josh Giddey is the best player on the floor for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
You're not wrong.
Don't throw it all. Don't throw it all at SGA. There's never been a time.
I said I'd rebuild with Josh Giddey.
And if you look at that Utah roster,
he's the most improved.
If you look at that Utah roster, you name me one game when Lauri Markkanen wasn't the best player on that roster. It didn't.
They had some Clarkson games like early. The first 40 games they had
he's
Clarkson
still not
games.
the best player. I could say that talent-wise, Giddey may be better than SGA. He may not be the best player on his team.
You might not be wrong. Lauri might not be the best player on his team either.
No, but he's the most improved.
I just have SGA. I have SGA. But again, hey, I'm used to being. I have broad shoulders. I can take the weight of that.
All right. So just to recap, Coach and I, we have most improved, which is the what award? What is it called now?
George Mikan.
The George Mikan Award. Coach and I went Lauri Markkanen. Teach went SGA. I'm gonna cut this up. You guys let us know who's the winner of this one. We'll put this one on there. So let's go.
Please help me school these fools. I think we're gonna be 3 for 3. Next one, Coach of the Year. That's the Red Auerbach. Holler at your cigar, baby. Coach of the year, it's Mike Brown, right?
Mike Brown.
Yes.
30 wins to 50 wins.
16 years since their last playoff appearance. It's
Yeah, I think it's 18 years since 05, right?
16, right?
I think it's 18.
Is it
Check
05?
the comments.
If
Let us
I
know
was
in the
said-
comments.
If I was said at the beginning of the year over under 30 wins, we might have been maybe over.
I'd have said
Maybe.
over.
Yeah, but it'd been barely. If I would have said 35, we'd have been 50. That's great. What a good season. Good for Mike Brown.
And it's going to come crashing down to the Warriors. Mike Brown is going to fall on the sword. Sorry,
Listen,
buddy.
I think Wiggins is coming back is a great, honest, like it's a fun idea and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if Sacramento wins it now. Because
2005,
Wiggins is coming back.
2006. You are correct, Teach.
Thank you. Hey, you know what? A blind squirrel, okay? I'm a blind squirrel. Found it. Got that one.
You did it.
The next one, we did it, fellas. Fly the flag. Rookie of the year. This is an easy one. This is named after Wilt Chamberlain, a.k.a. Wilt Chamberlazy, a.k.a. Stilt. All right? So this is Paolo, right? There can't be anybody else. Had one of the greatest rookie seasons that we've seen in a long time.
So just on a side note, Paolo, first rookie since who to average 20 points per game?
Carmelo
Melo?
Anthony.
Nope.
Somebody did
Absolutely
it sooner
not.
then because Melo did it.
Luka,
Luka.
your guy, man. You should have known
Luka.
that one. Anyways, yeah, 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Paolo all the way.
Yeah, I mean, my top three, it was Paolo. I think the finalists came out today. Paolo, Kessler, and then it was Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Santa Clara Jalen Williams, because we have to make sure we identify which Jalen is
Which
Jalen.
one? Yeah.
I think it shouldn't have been Walker Kessler. I think it should have been Benedict Mathurin. I love his attitude in Indy. I think he's going to be a future star.
He had some good games.
That's that Podfather manages to get that slight, like, I'm going to say a positive, but really it's a dig.
Yeah, that's right.
We
Yeah.
like it. The Jerry West most clutch award of the year. I mean, again, are we going to know anything about this award until maybe 2 or 3 years down the line?
Correct. Yeah, we don't even know. I mean, honestly, De'Aaron Fox is the guy this year, most fourth quarter. I think clutch points is what they're saying, right?
Yep.
So,
The last 2 minutes when you're within 5 or 6 points, in the last 2 minutes of the game or overtime.
like Jerry West, I don't know. You're a big Jerry West fan. Isn't giving him the logo enough? Why do we got to give him a clutch player award? Find somebody else to give it to, like Michael Jordan. He could have 2. Kobe Bryant, something. I don't know. Kobe got the All-Star award. I get it, but
Who's got the career most clutch points?
this should be like the Robert Horry Award.
Who's got that?
Coach,
Hey,
do you know?
Podfather, do you know who that is?
I don't know. Turn your
It's
video
LeBron.
off.
It's LeBron James.
Could you
it's
turn your
not
video
Michael
off
Jeffrey
again?
Jordan. Yeah, turn it off because you don't want to turn me up. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think he's like 18% in clutch shots. So whatever.
He's
Got
way
the most
above.
points. So
Way above 40.
I had to. Listen, we've had a couple Jordan raps. Coach, I had to lead you.
Throw
there,
him
right?
throw him a bone. He's getting beat up on social media. Throw him a bone.
I do.
Yes.
I
Nobody's
do
getting
want to
beat
say Jalen Brunson should get some love for the clutch award, but it is DeAndre Fox, I think.
De'Aaron. Yeah.
Sorry, De'Aaron Fox. Light the beam. Okay. The next one, sixth man of the year. This one, I think there's 2 candidates. This is the Havlicek Award, baby. The Havlicek Award. So
Overrated.
Get out of my face. Podfather, go ahead, show your Laker colors. Who you got here?
No. So I think it was 2. I think it's 2 people that really fell into the category. I think it was Emmanuel Quickley and Malcolm Brogdon. I lean more toward Malcolm Brogdon. Played less minutes per game. Had the same exact stat line. I'll give it to you guys really quick. This is Brogdon. 15 points a game, 4 rebounds, right at 5 assists and a steal in 26 minutes. His shooting stat line was 48, 42, and 83, which is super impressive. But he's always been that 45, 90, 40, 90 guy, 40, 40, 90 guy.
A 50, 40, 90 guy.
Almost 50. I think he did it one
Yep.
year.
He did.
And then Emmanuel Quickley, he was 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists and a steal in 29 minutes. His shooting line was 45, 37, and 82. So Malcolm Brogdon a little better to every stat. I went Malcolm Brogdon.
Coach, do you mind if I jump in?
Go ahead.
Podfather, we are simpatico right now. I wrote he's doing the exact same thing as Emmanuel Quickley in 3 less minutes.
Yeah.
So if you give him 3 more minutes, you don't think he's going to get 2 more points, an assist, a rebound. Quickly has more win shares. He has a softer defensive rating. Nobody's going to accuse Emmanuel Quickly of playing defense. He might be on our All NBA no defense team. He could be. So give me the guy who has done much more with less time.
And I'll
Plus,
say
he hasn't
this.
started a game. Quickly started 20 games.
I'll say this. Missoula is absolutely nuts for not having a starting lineup of JT at the 4, Horford at the 5, Brown at the 3, Malcolm Brogdon starting, and get Marcus Smart on the bench. Okay, I love his defense, but he's a liability on offense.
Derek White along with him.
Derek White with
Yep.
Malcolm Brogdon, and that's what my starting five would be.
That's who should close games.
I think so too. But the rotations are crazy in Boston sometimes. Thank you, Missoula.
Yeah, maybe Nick Nurse moves on from Toronto. Maybe he's on the way out, and maybe Boston says, "Hey, Missoula, thanks, but no thanks." Coach,
Maybe.
who do you have?
We're 3 for 3, so I want to just, instead of reiterating what we just iterated, I'm going to put in honorable mentions of Malik Monk and Austin Reeves. They started a lot of games. Brogdon started a lot of games too. This 6 man of the year
Brogdon
was,
did not start one game.
That's not what Brogdon. Excuse
Quickly.
me. Monk and especially Reeves started a lot of games. They definitely deserve honorable mentions there. I think if Reeves, they'd had this lineup all year, Reeves might have been on the bench some more, and he might have had more of a shot for this. I don't think he had enough input for him to have it, but definitely they deserve honorable mentions. Malik Monk helping drive them to that 3rd seed in the daunted Western Conference.
It's the
honorable
weakest
mentions.
Western Conference in 20 years.
Bro,
It's deep. There's not a lot of top end.
Literally, I'm just being. You missed the hypothetical.
Are you facetious
That went
right
right
now?
over your head.
Are you being
missed the
facetious right now?
what do you call it? Sarcasm? You missed the sarcasm on that. I was just throwing it out there.
We're going to use some words. It's got a lot of breadth, okay? Not a lot of depth.
That's
okay?
true.
So, I think we're pretty good here. Now it comes to the two most, for individual awards, these are going to be the most heated. Defensive Player of the Year, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, a Podfather favorite. Podfather, who do you have as the Defensive Player of the Year?
Okay, so I think I called this about 2 months ago. I think it has to go to Jaren Jackson. Here's why. Really is having a record-setting season in blocks this year. He averaged 3 a game. He averaged a steal. And, Memphis is second in defensive rating for the year. So not just the individual stats, but the team defense, and he's the anchor of that. But I did want to shout out Draymond Green. When he's on the floor, Golden State is the number 1 defensive rating team in the NBA. And Brooks Lopez, at his ripe age, is having a heck of a season on the defensive end. But I'm going to give it to Jaren Jackson. The only thing good about Memphis.
And barbecue, music.
No.
It's pretty good.
Keep it.
All right, Coach, who do you have?
So I'm leaning towards Jaren Jackson Jr. He did miss a lot of games at the beginning of the season, and it is a season award. And pretty soon that the new CBA, 65 games, that stuff's going to start mattering. And I don't think he got all 65 in.
Not
but
this
we'll
year.
give it to him this year. If I have to honestly say, I think Brooks Lopez, Draymond Green, Jaren Jackson should win the award. But you know who really is the defensive MVP in my mind? And until somebody becomes better, it should be Giannis. Giannis affects so many different things.
It's every
in
year.
so many different ways. That's what I'm saying. Technically, it should go in because the storylines, whatever, Jaren Jackson. But honestly, who you more scared of? If I see Jaren Jackson, they're still driving. That's why he's got blocks. You know who can't get those blocks? Giannis, because they say, and they go drive right back out to the 3-point line.
Okay, so let me put in my 2 cents. Let me try and convince you why it's not Jaren Jackson Jr. and why it should either be, and I don't think it's Brook Lopez either. Okay, so really quick, let me dismiss Brook Lopez. He's the 3rd best defender on his team. He is the 3rd best defender. Giannis is the best, and Drew is probably the 2nd best. So
I agree.
when you're not guarding the best player on the other team, I can't call you the best defender. I'm sorry. He had a wonderful season. Great job, Brook. His game has completely changed. Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't even play 1,800 minutes. Okay? I'm not even talking games played. The reason he's not playing 1,800 minutes, did not play 18, that's at a ridiculous number. Why? Because all he does is foul people. It is very easy to average 3 blocks a game when all you're doing is fouling somebody. Okay?
It works.
He's committing more fouls than everyone in the NBA. who isn't named Sabonis.
Dennis
Okay?
Rodman did the same thing in the 90s.
I would say it wasn't the same thing. I mean, you can't convince me Dennis Rodman's defense and Triple J's defense is anything similar.
No, God, no.
You just did.
No,
I'm saying he fouled
I
a
think
lot.
you were saying he fouled a lot. I
did.
get that. I just want to make sure everybody clear who's watching. Okay.
I know you
Not
didn't
the
watch
same.
basketball back then, Frank, but he did. Coach, he fouled a lot.
Now, I will say this: there is a young player putting the NBA on notice. I don't have him at winning it this year, but Evan Mobley is putting the NBA on notice for Defensive
great.
Player of the Year. And I want to say you flash back 5 or 6 months. Podfather mentioned that, hey, he's young KG, he's this, he's that. Look at him changing the game. Okay, I have it as a Draymond Green's award. I think it's Draymond Green's award. Podfather stole my stat that when Draymond's out there, he is leading the number one defensive team in the country. He's holding, this is a wild stat, he's holding opponents who are within 12 feet of him. So where it's his responsibility within 12 feet of him to 44%. That is below the league average of 48%. What really tips the scale for me, Clay isn't the defender he was. He's not. Wiggins is a great defender, and he darn near missed, over 2/3 of the season. So Dre really had to pick up the slack. That's why I think it should be Draymond Green and not Triple J. You can't listen until you learn to not foul. I don't care. This is an old school. Hey, he's got the most blocks or he's got the most steals. Give it to him. I don't think it's that way. So I give it to Dre.
So I got to go Jaren because I predicted it 2 months ago. So I'm going to stick by my word. But I'm not mad if it's Draymond.
Okay.
I'm not upset if it's Draymond.
No.
I'll take
I'd be
that.
happy if it was Draymond. I'd be happier if it was Draymond. But I think because the Grizzlies are going to bounce out in the first round, I believe there's some conspiracy with the commissioner and everybody with the job that people didn't like the amount of spending. They're going to bounce him out in the first round. So to make the fans feel good, we'll give him a Defensive Player of the Year award.
And you got to give him a cookie. Throw him a cookie.
Yeah, you got to give him some crumbs.
It's the kids' chocolate chip cookie when they shouldn't have it just because. You know what I mean? Like, let's give it to him.
It's the one that comes in the Lunchables. It's not good, but you got to give him something.
You got to give him something.
So you guys have Triple J winning the Lunchable Award. That's the new one. That's going to be named after Tiny Tim. Very good. The next one, the Michael Jordan MVP Award.
It's the Keebler Award. Ooh, say that
Keebler
again.
Award.
Say that again. The what MVP?
The Michael Jeffrey Jordan MVP Award. You guys go ahead. I think I'm going to be trying to do some convincing at the end of this. So.
I'll go first.
Yep.
It's the
It's easy, right, Coach?
We don't give. It's easy. And honestly, we don't name awards after players who still play and not quit on their teams. But I think it is easy. This should be for me, it's a slam dunk. I could see how people do it differently, but because he didn't play against Denver, I can't concede a whole season's worth of stats and stuff. And he's leading that Philadelphia team, who I believe without him would be tragedy in play. They'd be a painting. They'd be a Mozart, a Michelangelo of the worst thing you'd ever want to see. It'd be art. It'd be so bad. But because they have Joel Embiid, they are a very good team. He affects it. Honestly, he should have gotten honorable mention for Defensive Player of the Year. And if there was an Offensive Player of the Year, he should deserve that too. And then, so with those things put together and the fact that he's leading his team, even after all the stuff that has happened, could have been really easy for that team to bow out, but he put it on his own shoulders. The things that he does at 7 foot tall, not given enough credit for him changing the game and what's going on. And I truly believe that if he wins the MVP and the finals MVP this year, we're going to have a renaissance of big men. I think things are going to start to change again in the NBA.
I think it's already changing, and I want to throw a few stats at you guys really quick.
Come on.
Joel Embiid this year, 33.1 points per game.
Come on.
10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. This is his shooting line. 55, 33, and 86. He's a big 7-footer, 280, 270 pounds. Listen, here's what I'm saying.
When did that matter for MVP?
Hold on.
Height and weight. When has that ever mattered?
Hold on. This is why it matters. Because in today's NBA, this isn't the first year he's led the league in scoring. This is the second year in a row he's done it as a big in 2023. Let me tell you something. That's impressive. He deserves way more credit than what he gets. It's not even close.
He finished second in the MVP last year.
He should have finished first. That was not Jokic's
How's he not
award.
getting credit, though?
Listen, because
You can't just listen.
What did
That's a Muppet statement. You can't
hold
just
on.
make Muppet statements like that because you think it wins the argument.
What did Ricky Bobby say? Okay.
Now, first or last.
If
Wait a
you're not
second.
first, you're last.
What did
Listen, hold on.
Podfather say?
Hold on.
Third, fourth, what's the difference, right?
Hold on.
First, second, what's the difference?
The distance between Joel Embiid and Jokic is miles long. I told you this months ago.
Yeah,
in
Philadelphia to
episode
Denver. It is.
4 or
It is
5.
miles long. That's true.
I told you this months ago, and you guys wanted to bash me on the podcast, and we had to put it all over social media.
Yes, I was taught to speak truth to ignorance.
And here
so
I
that's
am.
what I do.
Here I am, clapping, celebrating Joel Embiid as the MVP of the NBA in 2023. Eat it. Love it. Like
Listen.
it. Boom.
Yep. Welcome to the podcast where we have Podfather Kyle Kuzma over here, okay? You can't
Carl.
just pop off
Carl.
the mouth and just say ridiculous. So let me go ahead. Great. Awesome. You're bringing height and weight. Awesome. Great. I love that.
It's
Let's first
2023.
Let's go over some statistics. Since you love statistics, so do I. Again, Jokic, my pick for MVP. He leads in win shares by a huge margin. Box plus minus, which is Podfather's favorite stat until it doesn't work for him, and then he ignores it, right? Value over replacement player. That's right. Vorp tells us it's him too. If you want to talk defensive statistics, awesome, great. I will give him that. Per 100 possessions, Embiid's rating is 109. He only gives up 109 points, which is awesome, great. How many does Jokic give up? 110. So you're telling me 1 point. Fall asleep all you want because you've been sleeping on Jokic all year. So that's great, okay? Close your mouth, honey. You'll look like a fish. Jokic's defense plus minus is better. He's played more games. Not only that, okay? Let's go ahead and dismantle the Giannis because I get some people are saying, hey, Giannis should be it. Giannis is shooting 35% outside of 3 feet, okay? It's not going to be Giannis. Sorry. Usage. Embiid's usage is 37%. What's Jokic's usage? 27%. If you're telling me that the ball doesn't go through Jokic 10% more, that his stats aren't going to be higher, now we have Jokic would be averaging 30, 13, and 11. So don't give me this stuff about, well, he's leading in points, he's doing this. Yeah, that's what happens when you take more shots, right? And again, Coach, this was your argument against Jordan. He took more shots. Of course he's going to average more points, right? So why doesn't it work with Jokic? This is an individual season award. And I am so tired of hearing this playoff nonsense, this malarkey about, well, he hasn't won anything in the playoffs. Great, awesome. They have another award for that, okay? This is a regular season award. You want to tell me, hey, take Joel off Philadelphia and where are they? Awesome. Take Jokic off of Denver and where are they? Okay, which team is better? I would say Philadelphia with Maxey, Harden, and like him or hate him, we tend to hate him. Tobias Harris, that's a way better team than KCP, Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. when he's there or getting a vaccine or getting COVID. So I don't want to hear any of that nonsense, okay? Now, I'll leave it at this because I know I'm not going to change your mind. That's fine. I don't have to. Nikola Jokic is becoming not only top 15, but a top 5 offensive player in the history of the NBA. By the time he's done, he will be a top 5 offensive player in the history of the NBA.
So let me go with a different
And never
part of this
make it out of the first round.
It's not a playoff award.
Let me give a little different. Okay, I see the stats, Paul, and I'm not saying there's no lying and there's no denying, right? So, but the perspective for two different quick reasons. One, he's already won it twice, and I believe.
What does that matter? Why does that matter?
I get it. Okay, I understand. I'm not making that.
Does that matter to you?
Listen. I'm not arguing. Wait a second.
Just answer the question.
Let me finish my statement, then I'll answer your question. So you stop interrupting my statement.
It's an easy question.
Let me ask you this. Let me state this. I'm not saying who deserves the MVP award. You asking me who wins the MVP award. And I believe him not making it far in the finals or in the playoffs is going to affect the votes of the other media. And the fact that The media really loves people who win the regular season scoring title. Don't forget, David Robinson wins it over he's way less than Michael Jordan. I'll never say David Robinson was better than Michael Jordan that year, but because he won the regular season points title, now this is the second time Joel's done it. That's why I'm not saying that the stats don't say that Jokic don't deserve another MVP. What I'm saying is the media tends to vote storylines, and the storyline will be Jokic don't get far in playoffs, Embiid tends to get farther, and he hasn't won yet. Let's not crown a 3-time champion guy who can't make it past the second round. That's not saying he doesn't deserve it. Not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying that.
The homework assignment was who's your MVP, not who will be MVP, who's yours. So you're telling me yours is Embiid, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Mine too.
That's fine. Listen, I've been on the right side of history before. You can stay on the wrong side of history.
If I'm taking one game, I'm going to remember the one game.
This isn't a one-game award.
You guys said, who's my MVP?
Right.
You say, who's my MVP?
Not who's your MVP for one game. This is who's your MVP.
If I got to take a regular
season award. Listen, they should just go ahead and scrap the award, call it something else, because apparently value, and I get value means something different to everybody. But have a best offensive player of the year and then have a most valuable player.
And so listen, hold on. Here's the true story behind the MVP award. There wasn't a year in the 90s, except the year that he went and played baseball, that Michael Jordan wasn't the MVP of the league.
2 years, yes.
There wasn't a year in 2000, from 2008 to 2015, that LeBron James wouldn't have been the MVP. And if we really want to think about it, Giannis has been the MVP for the last 5 years. It's crazy, but they don't do it like that. And so you have to go with who deserves it this year, who hasn't won one, who's it going to matter when you look at the all-time charts, those kind of things. They're going to feed Embiid his MVP this year. He does deserve it. He is better than Jokic. He's not the best player in the NBA, but he is better than Jokic. Yeah. And so MVP.
Giannis and Embiid are better than Jokic. They are not more valuable. They're not more valuable.
We'll completely agree with that statement. Nothing more, no argument. I'm not saying. I'll agree with it.
No, I think you take Jokic off of Denver, they're not even a playoff team. I mean, but I think the
value
same thing
is based on
Embiid.
price, and he puts up price. He puts up the price numbers. I'm not going to disagree with that.
He's the first center ever in the NBA to come close to averaging a triple-double. He missed it by 0.2 assists this year. It was crazy.
I blame Mark Cuban in the Mavs. I'm glad they got fined $750,000 because if Luka would have went off and scored 42 points, he would have beaten Joel Embiid for the points average for the year. Which is another stupid thing. They should go by. Jalen Rose has it right. They should go by total points for the year.
Yeah, I love that idea. I love that idea.
And then Luka's a cone on defense, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. We were talking about points per game, so I don't know why that.
I just needed to say that. Everybody needs to know it.
Yeah. You did. Listen, check out our TikTok. We're going to make it. It's going to be the NBA no defense first team.
Can't wait.
Luka's a shoo-in.
SGA also.
Maybe. He's got some competition.
You know who's starting at center? Jokic. Let's keep it moving.
The next thing we have our all NBA teams. Okay. So first team all NBA. We all are picking our first team all NBA.
Do we want to start at third and work our way up to first?
Yeah, we can do that. I think first probably has more similarities. I think where we're going to have some differences is third.
I think it's going to be fun, though. I think if we start at third and work our way to the best award.
See who. So, all right. So, third team NBA. Who do you have? Again, remember, this is still right now 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. They go positionless next year.
So, who do we want to go first? Who wants to go first?
I mean, I have no problem. I'll go ahead first. The way I look at my third team is it's mostly on talent. It's less so much on games played, but I do take in team record into account. I'm going to go center position. It's got to be Sabonis. It's got to be Domantas Sabonis. I have him over Bam. I have him over Brook. The only other choice was Anthony Davis, who played more minutes at center than forward this year, so I couldn't put him at forward. My 2 forwards, I have Laurie and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler quietly had one of the most efficient seasons in NBA history and definitely the most efficient for his own seasons. And then I have Steph and Dame. Again, this is talent. I wanted to put Darius Garland on there. I wanted to put Jalen Brunson on there. What it came down to was this is they had phenomenal seasons. Steph and Dame had phenomenal seasons, and I couldn't put Jalen Brunson or Darius Garland on there. So where'd you go, Podfather?
All right, here's my third team NBA. We're alike on the center. I went Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis at center. I have Julius Randle and Lauri Markkanen at my forwards. Love them for the third team. And at guard, I have SGA and Steph Curry. Third team,
Coach.
All NBA.
So I got Sabonis again. That's a pretty easy one. For my forwards, so I have LeBron and Randall for my third team forwards. But I'll be honest, I wanted to put Tyrese Halliburton there. I don't know if he's going to qualify as a forward. He's big enough to be a forward, but because he's not, I have to
Nowhere
take him off.
close.
And for my third team guards, I got Curry and Ja.
Oh, you're coming out guns blazing with your third team, bro. Good job.
Yeah, I know. They could play all 80. If they could play all the games, might be the best team overall.
Listen, I'll say this right now. Ja's not on any of my teams.
Mine neither.
He was a hair away from not being on mine.
Yep. My second team, I think there are three spots that are solidified. There's no way they're not on there. That's Embiid at the center position, De'Aaron Fox at the guard position, and I also think Jaylen Brown is second team forward. There's no chance he's not. He's going to get that bag. He's going to get that Supermax deal from Boston. The other two spots, guard, I got Luka, and I have Randall at the other forward position. So I got Fox, Luka, Jalen, Randall, and Embiid.
Good second team. I'll go with my second team really quick. At center, I have Jokic. My two forwards both come out of LA. Give me AD and LeBron at forwards. And then my guards, I got Brown and Fox.
Coach?
I got Davis as my center. I got Brown and Tatum as my forwards. And listen, that's why my first team is going to be. So my first team is weird. And then Luka and Fox as my guards.
Who's
That's
your
crazy.
third team center?
Sabonis.
This is okay. This is I'm really trying hard not to call you the C word right now, and that's casual. For those of you guys out there, don't censor me. Okay.
I'm glad. Yeah, I was going to say
Casual.
you better explain.
Because this is we're just putting players wherever we want. Okay. All right.
I mean,
guys.
it's what we do anyway.
No. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, somebody's got Brown as a forward. Somebody's got Brown as a guard. We just choose what we want now.
He plays both. It is what it is.
Played more games and minutes.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
That's not.
And
it doesn't
Tim
matter.
Duncan's a power forward.
Right. Exactly. It
That's
doesn't
good call.
matter.
Good call. Good call.
I mean, let's be real.
First team, I have SGA, 68 games. This is where I do take the amount of games you've played. I think it matters. I think it matters for the fans. I think it matters for the teams. I think it matters completely. So SGA, if not, Luka would have been up top, but his team just didn't win enough, even though, I mean, the Mavs were 500 when he played games. So SGA, first team. Spida, first team. Tatum, first team. Giannis, and Jokic. That's my first team.
All right, my first team goes like this. We're going to start with the MVP of the league, Joel Embiid at center. My forwards are Giannis and Tatum. My guards are, give me Spida and Luka. That's my first team. Embiid, Giannis, Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, and Luka Doncic.
All right, Coach, who do you have?
All right, because I put people wherever I want to put them. I got Spida and SGA as my guards. As my center, I got Jokic, the Joker, and I got Giannis and Joel as my forwards. Why? Because, I mean, we can put people where we want, so it is what it is. I can vote wherever I want to vote.
Where's Tatum on your All-NBA?
My second, he's a forward on my second
team.
team.
That's
because
crazy.
I don't think he's better than Giannis, Joel, or Joker. He deserves to be that 4 spot this year.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be positionless next year. I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
And you would
Yeah.
probably be right. You probably have to push Jalen. Well, I mean, Jason Tatum would probably, he'd just be a starting 5. He'd still qualify because he's better than Mitchell and Luka, right? And so, yeah.
If,
I think he had better seasons, both of
if
them.
it's positionless, I might take SGA out and put him on the first team that way and have it. I mean, like
That's what I would do.
that.
If we were
Yeah.
if next year, that'll be. Tune in next year, 2024, All NBA, next April, and that's what it'll be.
Bookmark it.
Yeah,
Episode 55 of the pod. That's the double nickel.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and do that. You know, I had to leave. The hardest part for me was leaving Anthony Davis and LeBron James off.
I couldn't.
I thought about Davis for third team center. If he wins third team center, I'm not going to argue it at all. If they choose to keep Randall off, I'm not going to argue.
Here's
Jimmy
what
Butler gets off, I'm not going to argue. That's fine.
here's what I'll say. I'll say this: when Anthony Davis has been healthy this year, there's not been a big in the league better than him.
I'll go one further. Anthony Davis is the MVP of the Lakers this year by far. By far, it's not close.
Easy.
It's not close.
He could
He
be
is-
if he had not had injuries and he played like he did post All-Star game. He'd have been MVP. I mean, pre All-Star game, he'd have been MVP of the league.
I was shooting that stuff in our first couple podcasts.
It'd have been
I was
easy.
definitely on that
Listen.
road if he would stay healthy.
It's not I mean, again, if the Mavs didn't trade for Kyrie, Luka might have been MVP.
Hey, maybe
Who knows?
the Mavs would have been in the playoffs.
They
So,
might have
I mean,
been
they could've.
500.
They could have if they didn't trade for that darn Kyrie, culture killer Kyrie.
Although Coach did say that Kyrie had a better plus minus than Luka did.
He did.
Just throwing that out there.
He did. Just didn't equal wins. So,
Ooh.
what was your hardest decision? I mean, again, mine was Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. I was talking to a couple of our students at the school. Shout out Addison, Jay, holler at you. They watch every podcast. They argue along with us. But they said, hey, you know what? Give them honorable mention. We'll go ahead and do this like high school sports. You don't make an all-star team, but you got honorable mention. Somebody mentioned your name. Way to go, buddy. So who was your toughest decision?
The toughest, decision overall, the toughest part about everything was the fact that it wasn't positionless. Because if I'm building the fives and I don't have to follow construct, then it's going to be a lot easier. That's my toughest decision, to putting people where. Other than that, I didn't want to put Randall on there. Halliburton would have definitely made my team and not Randall. Well, because of the ramifications of the stereotypes we have to follow, I had to put that as what
Big words, bro. You're killing it with the ramifications of the stereotype.
I mean, my dude reads one book and he's on fire.
yeah.
I'm on a book in a third.
Attaboy.
Still
Attaboy.
farther. How are you on your baseball games?
All right, so listen.
He's been keeping up baseball now, you know.
But he
He's
ain't
been shooting
watching.
them.
He's
Hey,
been statting it, not watching.
At
I
the
love it, though.
at the 9% mark, just remember the Orioles are above the Redbirds. Last in the Central Division, actually. So just FYI. But anyways, listen, there were a couple. You didn't even name a player, first of all. Way to answer that without giving a player. So
I
first,
said Tyrese and Randall.
Yeah, Julius Randle.
Okay.
Yeah, he said.
Okay, so I had a couple that were hard for me to leave off. I didn't put Dame on there. It felt criminal, but I think there were just better players this year. And I look at what Portland did. James Harden quietly had a great year this year. Averaged 20 points, led the league in assists, had a good year this year. You know who else? True Holiday. That guy is deserving. Hey, come back.
James Harden? Get
James
outta
Harden.
here. And Dame had the best year of his career.
It still wasn't great. So
You are
Wait. Hey, Podfather, can I throw one your way? If this was like the mid 2000s, James Harden would have won the MVP like Steve Nash.
hey, listen, he would have. So listen. James Harden had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, and shot 44% for the year. That quietly what a rebound year after those years in Brooklyn and the first year in Philly. So I think you should be rewarded for that. So I just want to shout out, James, if you're listening, bro, I got you back, bro. Great job rooting for Philadelphia this year in the Eastern Conference. Celtics suck. We all know that. So let's go Philly. But yeah, those are a couple that I was like, I had a hard time getting over.
good. Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see ramifications. Again, we had a little mini discussion about positionless next year. I don't necessarily like positionless. I think there should still be, hey, backcourt, front court, wild card. I love that idea. I hate the idea that we can go just straight positionless.
Let me ask.
I think it should still look like somewhat of a basketball team.
I want to ask you a hypothetical really quick, Tim,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Because
Please.
I think the world needs to know your answer. I think people are wondering what you would
don't know
think
that
about
people are
this.
wondering, but I'll give them the answer.
No, people are wondering. And so really need to know this. Jaylen Brown. All right, say the Celtics don't get to the finals, don't win a championship. Jaylen Brown's going to make All-NBA team. We know that.
Yep.
And then we know what comes after that. Here, first of all, Jaylen Brown is averaging the most points by a teammate, second best player on the team ever in the history of the NBA, right? 27 points a game, 7 rebounds. The kid is on fire this year. Jason Tatum, He may be better than Tatum to me. I don't know. We got to let it play out. If he ever learns to dribble, the kid's going to be unstoppable. But listen, here's the thing: if he's going to make All NBA, Boston's going to have to give a contract out. At that point, if you're Boston Celtics, you're the GM of that franchise right now. I'm putting you on the spot. You're going to make that. You're going to make that sign. You're going to sign him. You're going to give him that max extension. Is it a sign and? Is it a sign and trade? What is it with Jaylen Brown after he makes All NBA? If it doesn't work this year, the year him and Tatum had together, the team constructed around them. If it doesn't work, what are you doing?
So I would meet with my consigliere, Coach Frank LaFada, which we've had many discussions like this, and he knows I like Jaylen Brown more than Jason Tatum, so I might be biased. I think Tatum has a higher ceiling. I do love Jaylen Brown's game. I am signing him to that 5-year, 240, 250, 290, whatever the Supermax deal is, and I'm waiting. You cannot lose the asset. I think they can make it work. I think Tatum and Brown can make it work. Last year might have been the year. It might have been, hey, they should have won it last year. But that's okay. I don't think you do a sign and trade because I don't know that you can ever get equal value back. I do think there is a reckoning coming, though. I do think this is the last year because you cannot have two players representing $110 million. But Boston's not the only team dealing with this. Milwaukee's going to have to sign Giannis to a Supermax deal. They're going to have to figure Brook Lopez is a free agent. What are they going to do? Are they going to extend Drew? Are they going to extend Chris Middleton? I mean,
the difference
with Boston, I think you have these two guys and you can build around it.
There's significant differences in Milwaukee, though. Those guys, a lot of those have already made their nut. Okay, and
they've won a championship.
This is going to be correct, and they've won a chip. They've chased the ring. They've gotten that. It is. I think they're going to be good. Milwaukee's in a significantly better situation than Boston is if Boston's bounced out of playoffs in the semis or something like that this year. I
don't think they're in a better situation for the future. I think they've won a championship, and so
anytime you have the best player in the NBA, you're in a better position. Giannis is clearly the best player in the NBA.
That can change with one injury. That can change in one season. So I don't know what that has to do with the future.
He's one gyro accident away from not.
You know, that's if they don't sign Brooklyn. I trust Boston's front office to make moves and to draft players well. We all saw, Poison Pill P. We all saw Peyton Pritchard drop a 30-point triple-double in the last game of the season. This is a guy who probably could be starting a couple places or at least be a first guard off the bench in a couple places.
All right. So
absolutely.
I can't listen to that nonsense. Appreciate that answer, Teach, though. Coach, I do want to ask you a question now. You're a LeBron fan. Okay, so I'm not going to take it from Lakers Nation. You're not Lakers Nation. You're LeBron Nation. So I'm going to do it as a LeBron fan. The fans of 3 for 3 want to know this. If the Lakers get bounced in the first round, say they lose to Memphis, okay, which is possible. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible, right? Any given Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the NBA. So it's possible. What are you doing as the GM of the Lakers after that trade that was made post-deadline, pre-deadline, right? We brought in D'Lo. They brought in a couple significant pieces. What are you doing if we get bounced in the first round this year?
Running it back to the best of my ability. I mean, there's one player that's missing honestly, we have the ability to win a championship with the team we have this year. Staying healthy is a vital part of that. There's one guy that we don't have right now. And there's the biggest hole in the whole lineup right now is having that big that can defend, having the two big system. Mo Bamba being hurt is really affecting them right now. They've had the best record in the Western Conference since the trade deadline. I believe if they had more time to play together, we could easily be the 3 seed, the 2 seed, with the whole year together like this. And with that, we'd have more time to rest, more time for different things. We're a deeper team now. And I think if they just run it back another year, everybody signed on. I would do my best to run it back. The only thing they could upgrade is trading, maybe just having a D'Lo Kyrie swap.
Hold on.
I don't love that. I don't love it.
Hold on. I'm going to get there with you. Listen. So you ever been in poison ivy or poison oak before? What'd your mama and daddy always tell you? Don't scratch it. You'll spread it, right? I think the Lakers have already scratched that poison ivy spot of Kyrie Irving. I think it's there. I think it's a legit thing.
It's a
legit thing. So Are you scratching that itch? Both of you, question for both of you. If you're the Lakers, if you get bounced in round one, are you pulling the trigger on sending, say you got to send, I think you said it earlier, Paul, in a chat thread, Teach, you said.
D'Lo and Reeves. I think it was D'Lo, sign and trade, the Reeves, and then
or
maybe
Vanderbilt or something like that.
Yeah, they've already committed to Vanderbilt. They've said, hey, you can't say no to $4.7 million for the value he brings. So I think it'll be a shooter, a 3-and-D guy like Reeves. I think it'll be D'Lo and then first draft pick considerations. And I think they would have to do it.
Do you have?
I think anything's better than D'Lo.
So if you're out in the first round, you're scratching that itch. You're going Kyrie Irving all the way.
No, not at all.
Wow. Are you Podfather? You are, right?
I'm going to make a significant change. I don't know if it's going to be Kyrie. I may see what's out there in Toronto.
Dame. Could be Dame.
It could be Fred VanVleet, Siakam, OG, something like that. I may try to go big, move Reeves to the point guard, let him do some more ball handling, something like that. I don't know. And so I've got a couple of ideas we'll discuss later on. I wanted to know if you guys would scratch the Kyrie itch. That's all.
I like the Dame. The Dame might be a way that I would go for. Other than that, I'm not going Kyrie with that. I don't think that. I think that if he decides to leave, Dallas is going to have to make a move, and that may be the best option. It's just a straight swap for D'Lo and Kyrie, and maybe like some second round picks. I don't think they're going to get much better on a last minute notice, sign and trade, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to do with it.
It all depends on what Kyrie wants. If Kyrie wants, hey, the fifth year, if he's willing to just say, and he's crazy enough to say, forget it. No, I'll just take 4 years somewhere else, and I'll go wherever I want to go.
I have one more question that I had down for you guys that I have to ask, and I got to get answers from both of you. We've seen the landscape of the NBA now, right? It's playoff time. We know who's in. We know who's out, except the games that are going on right now, the 2 games tonight. If you are the GM of any team in the NBA, which team needs the most significant change this offseason? Which one are you blowing up, or which one are you changing the most? There's a couple I got out there, but if you could pick GM just to have a free-for-all, which team are you doing it with?
As I'll go first, Coach, if you don't mind. So if I am the Heat, and right now they're losing by a point to the Bulls through 3 quarters, I blow up the Heat because I think at a moment's notice, Riley, Spo, I think they can bring in different guys. I would trade Jimmy Butler. I would look to maybe pivot from Tyler Hero. They signed Duncan Robinson to this contract. I would go ahead and pivot from him if I could. If they're stuck with him, great. But that's the team I think that could retool. Maybe not rebuild, but they could retool and eventually get better because of it. I would keep Bam amongst all costs. I think he's a stud. I love Bam Adebayo's game, but I think Jimmy Butler doesn't fit the timeline.
So you're trading their 2 best offensive talents in Butler and Hero, trying to pivot off of those 2, recreate something built around Bam Adebayo, not so much Jimmy Butler.
I don't know if it's building around Bam. I think Bam is a perfect second or third banana on any championship team.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think that's one area I'd go. Dallas is probably the most desperate team to make a move. I love the vote of confidence from Luka saying, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm happy here. He seems like he could be that dude like Dirk was.
You took me by surprise.
Something.
I thought you were going to go Dallas and try to give Luka some help, but that's cool. I'm glad you went Miami. Coach, what do you got? This is good talk. I love this.
Secretly, he went Miami to give Dallas help, but that's a great way to do it. For me, it's 2 teams that's like juicy for me. Toronto, I think if I'm a GM, anything is better than what's happened this year.
Who are you picking as a coach in Toronto? Because they're going to need a coach too.
Ime Udoka.
Yeah, I'm definitely going there. But honestly, where I want to go is Atlanta.
He probably can't find a girlfriend in Canada. He'd probably be all right.
Yeah, he'd find one.
Masai will bring one in.
Yeah, they'll pay one.
They'll trade for one.
Yeah.
Nia Long, what you doing, girl? You coming with them?
But honestly, I like to go Atlanta. I'd like to make some moves there. I think that they're an easy team to get some pieces for. They got a lot of individual pieces. They seem not to mesh well. I think they have the right coach, and I'm listening to Quinn Snyder if I'm a GM. So if I'm the GM, I want to make moves, but I want to make moves that Quinn Snyder wants me to make. I trust in what he wants, and I make things happen around what the moves he wanted. As a smart GM, when you have a coach like that, you sit down and listen. You shut up and pay attention. You take notes.
Yeah,
I think that they'd be smart enough to do that.
Yeah, I think him and Kenny Atkinson were my first two choices for an LA coach. Love Quinn Snyder, like what he's about. That's fun. I thought about Atlanta too. They have some really movable pieces where you could get. There's value in those pieces, even if it's not a lot of value as a team. They have a lot of individual value. Toronto's another one, and then Fred VanVleet came out and said, "It's not up to me how fast you want to mature." Who's he talking about? Scotty Barnes, OG. You know what I'm saying? Like. Crazy talk in Toronto, but they have a lot of value also. We saw what OG almost brought in this year. So if he's probably the third best on that team in terms of like Siakam, Scotty Barnes, then OG. I think VanVleet's probably their most valuable player they have at point guard just because he's a point guard. But anyways,
I think Scotty could play point guard. When VanVleet went down last year, Scotty looked his best. He played his best basketball playing a point forward role. I think their most valuable asset is Siakam. I could see Siakam getting moved and retooling, and Fred VanVleet moving on, and somebody like the Clippers overpaying him. Like that's a Clippers type move. It'd be very interesting to see who gets the Detroit job, who gets the Houston job. Coach has been talking about Houston for a while. That's a dumpster fire. You know, I've heard Nick Nurse going to Houston. I've heard possibly Kenny Atkinson going to Detroit. That's always fun. I've heard Jay Wright is going to test the NBA waters.
I heard they were going to bring in Kevin Ollie.
I heard that as well. I saw that on Run Across Bleacher Report. I don't think Ollie leaves UConn after winning a championship. I think he stays right there and tries to defend a title. But that's all we have tonight, fellas. Again, it'll be interesting to see as everything progresses. Next week, we're going to talk baseball. We're going to touch on NBA playoffs, check in. But next week, it's going to be next 2 weeks, a lot of NFL draft. NFL draft. Again,
it's coming. Bijan Robinson to the Cowboys. Love it.
This was episode 24. So, again, this is the Ken Griffey Jr. episode. Willie Mays, Sam Jones, Barry Bonds, Jeff Gordon. Where's our race fans out there?
How much better is Kobe Bryant as a 24 than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Not.
I think he's better.
I don't.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys are checking out our TikToks. Again, we have our Jordan versus James episodes up. We'll be coming out with all new shorts. We're going to have a wave of shorts coming out next week for everybody. Show winner. So tonight's show was based on who agrees with me more. And stunningly, with a score of 12-7, yeah, it's Podfather. Podfather agreed with me more, which is shocking. Very shocking.
We did it.
Jokic and Embiid, we managed to get over that hurdle. We bridged the Iverson-Nash gap. And we went ahead and came together tonight.
And I sent you that picture the other day of the rankings of the best players to ever win a championship.
Yes, you did.
Did you see that, Frank? Coach?
No, I no, not at all.
It's Barkley,
yeah,
Malone, Stockton.
I looked
Nash.
at it.
Oh, sorry, Iverson, then Nash.
Yeah, Iverson and
we
Nash.
all know, man, that one page, that one hit from Google. That's the ultimate authority.
It's out there in the universe, bro. It's there. It's in the air. Breathe it in.
It's in the ether. Breathe it in, man. Again, for Coach Frank LaFada, for Alex Podfather Gullet, I'm Paul Tietz. Make sure you guys subscribe, follow us on TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. We'll catch you guys next time, 3 for 3.